Welcome back to Fix Build Race. So New Zealand's gone into a lockdown, so we're all stuck at home. So I decided today I'm going to compression test the engine of my ute, which has 450,000 Ks on it. So the first step when doing a compression test is obviously remove your spark plug, so I'll just do that now. This is also a good opportunity to inspect your spark plugs. This one's obviously covered in crap, which I'm not really surprised. The engine was leaking a bunch of oil before from the rocker cover, but I've done that, replaced that now, but I just haven't cleaned the engine down because can't really be bothered. But the spark plug looks okay for the most part, not too worried about that. This one's looking quite a lot different to the other ones, which is something to worry about. So and it's got all this crap on it. I have replaced these probably over a year ago, but yeah, that one's not looking too good. So that cylinder's obviously running a bit different than the other ones, which is a little concerning, but this engine has done 450,000 Ks, so you don't expect it to be running perfect, and I do plan on swapping this out when it does blow up or die. So probably not really going to do too much about that. Okay, now that we got the spark plugs out, usually the next step would be to disable your injectors. So you can either do that by unplugging a crank sensor or simply unplugging all the injectors, or another way, some older cars have an injector ballast to change the impedance of the injector or the resistance of the injector. This obviously being a carbureted engine doesn't have injectors, so what I'm going to do is just foot flat or fully open the throttle while I'm doing the compression test, and that'll mean that there's no vacuum that can pull the fuel into the cylinders, so I shouldn't be flooding the cylinders while I'm doing this. The reason that you want to unplug injectors on an EFI car is because you don't want to flood the cylinders when you're doing the compression test, which can damage the engine. So yeah, I'll screw in my compression tester to cylinder 1 and fire away. Just another thought, another thing you'd want to do on an old engine like this is to disable the coil, because you don't want your leads arcing onto anything like the engine block while they're sitting in there and you're cranking the engine. So I usually like to just go for 6 cranks, and you keep it the same across every cylinder. So that one was showing 120. So we'll move on to the next one. So I'll just show you what I'm doing on the inside as well. Foot flat on the accelerator, which you should do on any compression test so that the engine can draw air in, and then I'm just turning the key and waiting 6 cranks and then stopping. Good enough. And oh, that one's quite a bit higher, so that isn't a good sign. So that was 5, 6, 7, 8, so 180. So that's not really what you want to see. You don't want to see big differences between cylinders. If they were all 120, though that is a bit low, it still means that they're wearing evenly, but since we've got discrepancies, that isn't too good. So that tells us that cylinder 1 isn't too happy, but I'll continue with the other cylinders, and then I'll go back to cylinder 1 and just see if maybe it was poor testing, maybe I didn't have the tool screwed in tight enough or something like that and some compression was leaking. So I'll carry on with the testing the others and then go back to that one afterwards, just to verify that there is something not good about that cylinder. 170. Yep, 170. So compared to the other cylinder, that's not too bad. That's only a 10 psi difference. Usually a 10% difference between cylinders is passable. So 10 psi is not going to try and work that out in my head quickly. So, but it's less than 10%. That one's 175, which is also good. So now go back to cylinder 1 and see if it really is hurting. Okay, that time we got 150, which is a bit better. Still, that's 30 psi below the other one, so that's just below 20% difference. So yeah, we can tell from this test that cylinder number 1 isn't too happy. It's still decent compression, but it just means that it's going to be running a little bit different to the other cylinders. But that's interesting because I think it was the cylinder 2 spark plug was the one that looked quite different. Cylinder 1 actually looked the same as the others. Got everything back together now, so let's fire it up and hope that it still runs. Hope I haven't messed anything up. Sounded like I had a bloody cam in it for a second there, but I think that was just probably some fuel did get down in the cylinders when I was doing the test, and it was probably just blowing that out. But yeah, still runs, so that's good. We now know that it isn't the healthiest engine in the world. The other cylinders, I'm pretty stoked with that, having 170 to 180 across 3 of the cylinders, but 150 in one of them isn't the best. But as I say, I'm pretty keen to swap this engine out when it does die for something a bit more modern, something with more than 50 horsepower. But that day will hopefully come in the future. Hopefully this engine lasts a bit longer though, because I do have my Sylvia which I want to build first. But thanks for watching this small video. Hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed watching, hope it was interesting. I was planning on doing a leak down test as well, but obviously I don't have all the equipment to do that at home. I was planning on doing it at work. For now I'm going to go back to being in lockdown, playing RuneScape and Pokemon and all that good stuff. But thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
I don't really put much soul in it. It's like I don't think that I'm with it. I'm on the pro team, you'll be calling that Olympic. They see me rolling, no millionaire, I'm sunning. Peter, Pop, well,